Hey, what's up to all my Universe Soldiers, Universe Soldierette? I hope you're all doing fine. I'm doing well. It's not really an option that I give myself. When I wake up in the morning, it's just not an option anymore to give up and be negative because I can't. It's just too hard for me to. I don't have any space left for deceptions and you know dramas, things that don't concern me. I'm a great empath. I do have a lot of empathy for most of beings I know, enemies, friends, the whole world. I got empathy for. But something I come to notice is that thing is, it is a beautiful quality that we have to be empathic, to care for others. But once you notice that you are such an empath, you also notice that it doesn't serve you. Meaning, look, whatever you do good for someone, it doesn't mean that this person will even recognize it. You will not get a notification that tells you, "Hey, you did great job. You fulfill your mission." No one's gonna tell you that, and most people won't. Let me tell you, and that's quite an important fact. It is something to realize. Like, do I really want to help others at the risk to be the one suffering after? Because yes, it does drain energy. And when you're a great empath, well, just talking with someone, knowing that they are going through this or that, well, suddenly you feel it. You don't feel it as you talk, but you get back home and, you know, you suffer from it. And the most ironic thing is that you don't get any sign that this is where it comes from, but you feel it. And that's what brings me um, to this next thing about being a great empath. Once you choose to be one of them, uh, life-changing person, um, to be this support for the collective, the community, the generations to come, and you're a universal worker. You work for what? That's what you need to know about yourself. Most of everything I learn in life, every now moment, it has to do not with the opinions of others, not with what people taught me. It has nothing to do with whatever is on the medias. It has nothing to do with. It is an individual choice, knowing that I might not, you know, uh, get what everybody wants to get in life. The big house, the cars, the fame, all those things, the money, and it is something that, sometimes I feel like I need those things more in my life. Stability, uh, abundance, all those things. And it's not like if there's anything stopping me, preventing me from achieving those things and to get those things. But I don't feel like that would fulfill my thirst at the end. Because, when you are awakened, well, you understand that now is always now. And as I'm speaking now, I'm not, I did, I carry some experiences that enabled me to talk this way and to be sure about what I say. Because of what? Because I stopped relying on whatever I see, whatever I hear. It's not about others, it's about my vision of things. Since the day I'm born, from my memories, uh, whatever, everything I don't know about, I'm just discovering. And one thing I believe we should all do is accept the unknown. That's one of the biggest mistakes that we do. It's okay to create stuff, the science, the units, all those things, they are practical because we need that to, like units, yeah, dimes, pennies, whatever. That's how we work together. That's how we exchange. That's something we created. But is it good, bad? I cannot really tell. Like from my personal point of view, the way I see stuff, those things, I'm not talking about back then in the Egyptian time. I'm talking before that. I'm talking about whenever something is created, doesn't mean that it has to be right. I'm going to share with you a little vision of mine in regards to this. It has to do with, if you want to get something or understand something, well, what is the best way of doing it is to put yourself into place, uh, into situations, how things eventually became what they are now. What has been created? Why has it been created? For what purpose? How did it happen? When was the first time? If you want to go with time and go back to the past and understand, well, you can rely on whatever historic fact that we know even for sure, but that doesn't tell everything. Just like words, you know, words is a creation of human, right? Um, and to me, that's be if I put myself in the skin of a primate who doesn't know anything about words. Hey, it can go deep. Like meaning, just try to put yourself in the skin of someone who just got here on Earth, no clothes, no internet, no none of that. So what is the first thing you would do as a human being, as a primate, as someone who doesn't know anything about anything? Because this day, it actually took place one day, and many times it did happen, and I do believe that, if you're born here in the middle of winter, well, there's good chances you didn't you didn't last for long, and then poop, you died, and then maybe you reincarnated in something through the years and times. So so that's quite a long time lapse before for a human being just to survive under certain conditions, like not knowing that you are hungry because you don't know those things. You are a primate. You just feel your body. You feel something. You notice that if you do this, this will happen. Whatever. So yeah, you wonder where I go with all this, but first thing first, I want to ensure you that uh, I have no intention of changing your life. I'm not I'm not better than anyone else, and you don't have a specific reason to listen to me today, but you have the right to, and I believe it could serve you. One thing I tend to do at every now moment is to rely on what I know. And it's a bit hard when you know that you don't know. This is something I believe we need to accept. We might believe we know, but this is just because of those words, those things like science units. We were born here with those implemented things that we didn't really get uh, the option to believe or not. We were kids, we were babies. And it has been like that for generations. Civilizations have left this earth plane, and you wonder what happened. Well, to me, it sounds obvious because I see it from a primate state of mind. Because, all animals on earth, the trees, the birds, most of every of them, they they went through time and they still are, and they still some species that are considered like dinosaurs, meaning I don't know how many years they can last, but meaning it's if they do last, maybe It has something to do with the fact that they don't use words. They don't know about power. They don't know about the future and the past. They just live, and they know um, their primal needs. Like to eat, to reproduce, to travel, to do whatever. Like everything that is a part of the motion. Moving with the motion. The motion is unpredictable. You cannot, even if you can predict what's going to happen with this dude or this girl, well, you cannot predict if Mother Nature is going to fuck all of us up tomorrow or right now. I'm speaking. If you know those things, well, let me know in the comments because I want to know how you manage to do so. So when you think like that, you're like, okay, well, if I see it from this angle, I just find out that nothing that we do, us human beings, makes sense. It doesn't. And it has to do with what we carry, what we create, what we still carry, and knowing that is wrong. But the thing is, we don't know it is wrong because we don't put ourselves into a primate human skin point of view. Like, it's a personal choice to make in life. Some people are scamming other people, and I don't know how they manage to live, and be comfortable by doing that. Because those material things, the day your soul leaves this earth plane, well, where does it go? Meaning, what are you doing on earth? Are you serving the motion, or are you swimming against it, trying to break it? It's a personal thing to believe or not in. But from my point of view, in my personal experience, I did many mistakes in life, and I had to forgive myself for many of them to a point where I understood that, you know what? How responsible am I for what happened to me? Meaning, yes, of course, we make choices, but some things, like how could I have predicted? You know, we're all we all like want the same thing. Like it's not like if, let's say, my whole life collapsed on purpose. It's not something that I wished for, that I expected to happen. And when it happened, well, man, you're stuck now. You have to find a reason to live again, meaning you lost everything. Well, you have to recover, but unless you, I don't know, you just remove yourself from the earthly. Well, that's when, you start asking yourself those questions like, what is my purpose here? Is there any way I can change? Am I good at anything? You know? And those existential questions, well, it comes with a lot of things because you start believing in the universe again, like in unknown forces, because that's the only thing you can really kind of, I don't know, hope for is for the message to come, for your life to change, for you to be happy again, no matter what happened. And that's when you kind of start to see time differently. Because when you forgive yourself for what you've done and whatever, like as bad or good it could be, it's past. It's something that no longer is. The only thing that really does exist is now. And what are you doing now in order for your life to change? And you don't try to predict the future because every time you did that, well, you were wrong and you didn't really predict it. You expected things to happen and they didn't happen the way you thought. So it's a learning process. It is. It's a sad thing to say what I'm going to say right now, but from what I see and the way things are going, which I believe to be against the motion. I mean, the power, the rich, the poor, the money, all those things that we create. Well, where does this all lead? Well, to me, it all lead to the same place it led us before. We're doing the same mistake again. We carry the same, uh, you know, I don't know, those things that don't serve us. We still carry them. We still uh, living those ways, believing that this is right or wrong. While it's, to me, it's evident that it's all wrong. And what make it so logical is every civilizations before us that didn't last, that didn't make their way through. Well, why did it happen? It cannot only be the weather. It cannot only be, uh, you know, I don't know, the sun that exploded and we all did. And it's not about that. It's the way we kept on carrying everything that was wrong, and we still do it now. Power, those words, those meaningless words. Because at the end, we could have survived if maybe we wouldn't have created those things. But this, what I'm talking about, this is something we need to accept first to recreate life and not to be sent here over and over in even worse circumstances. You know what I'm saying? And something that I do accept at the moment is that maybe I will not. There's good chances that I won't uh, witness the change itself when it happens, if it happens. Because, this lifetime is this lifetime, and I'm halfway there, but I still got another half to, not force things. I just want you to understand things the way you should, and nothing more, nothing less. But that's the truth, of what we know, what we don't know, what we can do about it, and why should we kind of see it that way. Because it's a no-brainer at the end. It's when you think about the children of tomorrow. Well, we used to be children. Same for our ancestors and everything. And you know, there's something that some people I lost in this lifetime too early, and I really felt like it was unfair for everything that they achieved and they set for us, in place, meaning the things that we need and that they are the creator of, and they got treated like if they were nothing at the end because it was a money thing. It was about you retired for as long as you worked. Well, you shouldn't be living anymore, and we shouldn't pay for you anymore. And that's how they control populations. And you know what? Do I want to die this way? Will I accept that for my actual uh, relatives, for the next one to come, for them to suffer even more every time? I will not accept that. This is impossible. You know, I will not let this happen again, and I will not witness all of that without trying to make you understand what I'm saying.